Well, hello. My name is Damian Montero. I have over 22 years experience in programming, and I'm here to help you get started just before you go into your developer bootcamp. First, let me congratulate you because you've done a great choice. This developer bootcamp will let you lead on to some careers that have made me very wealthy, very happy, and will make you very satisfied. So what I'm here to do isn't to teach you anything that the bootcamp won't teach you already. But I'm here to get your computer ready. What we're going to be using today is this Macintosh that's in front of me. Now, most of the things we're going to learn will work the same as Windows, as Macintosh. But for this purpose, we'll be using a Macintosh, and I'll be talking specifically about it. One of the things we want to learn is how to utilize it as best we can. As developers, we do a little bit more than just a regular user. Here's some of the basic things we do. Let's pretend this was the trackpad. I know it's rather strange and large, but you get the idea, right? You can see what's going on here. I can put my finger and I can move it around, and you can picture the cursor moving around on your computer, right? I move it up and down, and it moves up and down. Great. And you know, maybe you're sophisticated, that if you use two fingers and you swipe, it's going to scroll. Long web page, you can swipe in one of the directions, most likely this direction, and the screen will simply move up and then you'll sort of scroll down, right? In some situations, you do it the other way around. You'll quickly figure that out. One thing that most people don't know is how to right-click, or a special kind of a click. So when you have something, picture yourself seeing something, and we'll do this in just a second. I'll get on the laptop. You'll be able to see what's on the screen in just a second, and we'll be able to do exactly what we're talking about here. Okay? One of the things we have to do is we have to specialize select. We're going to choose that by simply clicking on it, and then we're going to choose something more sophisticated, an optional menu as it is. We're going to do that by either holding down your fingers and then tapping them together. Instead of a single tap, which will be to choose, we will be doing with two fingers. Two fingers and holding it for a couple of seconds will actually bring up a special menu. Don't forget that. You'll see in just a minute. Here's the last thing. We can drag and drop things. In real life, we can grab this particular pair of headphones. So I can grab it and I can move it here, and I can drop it on where I move it here, right? Oh, I don't like it here. I want to grab it and move it and put it this way. How do we do it with the computer? We do this with the mouse. We go over what we're trying to do. We move over our cursor to what we're going to do. We press a little bit to select it. Without letting go on our fingers, we move and then we let go. Now I know you said, oh my goodness, Damien, I know all those things and you're getting a little bit boring. Let's get to the computer and get some exciting things that you'll need to know so that you're a good developer and you're ready for that boot camp. I'm going to switch over right now. Let's switch over. Hey, I'm down here. Look at me on the bottom right corner. Isn't this crazy? What we're looking at now is that computer that I showed you a second ago. It's still me. It isn't a day later or TV magic. It is just simply a second later. You were looking at the computer I showed you a second ago. Okay? So, if I move the mouse, I can do it. I can see it. If I click on something, well, there isn't anything to click. Well, let's talk a little bit about what we could do over here. You might have a bunch of different icons in here. We have a bunch of different icons at the bottom. We'll talk about that in just a second. Let's make some icons so we can move things around and learn a little bit about what we do as developers to move things around. I'm going to do that trick. Remember I showed you a little while ago? I'm going to hold my two fingers, I'm going to tap on it, and a special menu come up there. Is your menu not working up there? Look for the Option key or Alt key on your keyboard. Press it and then click, and you'll see you'll get the same thing there. Watch this. Two-finger click, and a special menu comes up. I'll do it one more time. Try it along with me. Go to your desktop, go to somewhere where it isn't this video, and press with two fingers. Two-finger click, and I get a menu. There's a lot of things in this menu. Other cool things, change the desktop background. If you don't like that default, change that picture, get something cool in there. But that's not what we're doing right now. What are we doing? Creating a new folder. Okay, you may have done this before. I clicked on it, and now the second I click on it, I can name it something. We're going to call it Pi. You'll see why in just a second. It's just a Pi. It's a folder. I can double click on it. I'm going to go click to open it up. Here it is. Now it's open and I can see things in there. There's nothing in there. Let's do something and put something in there. I'm going to right click and put a Pi. How about apples? Right? put some apples in that pie, right? An apple pie now. So there's a folder inside this other folder, and it's called apples. I'm going to go ahead and close it. On the top left corner, there's an X, a minus, and then expand to make it as big as possible. In fact, it is actually going to make it full screen if you don't do anything. But if you notice carefully, I waited a couple of seconds, we got some options. Let's not talk about that for now. I'm going to press the X, that's the little red one, and it's going to close it down. Now, it didn't throw it away or get rid of it. It just closed it down. Do we want to get rid of it? Well, let's go ahead and drag it right now to the trash can. It's over my head here. Do you remember I'm down here? Oh, look, in this trash can right here. Let's go ahead and drag it over on top of my head. I'm going to drag it in here, and it's gone. Gone from existence. Well, not really. I can actually just simply click on that, and there it is. It's what's in the trash can. So you think you're taking up all the stuff and putting in the trash can and it's gone? No, not yet. You have a couple of days and a little bit of chance to recover that information. I'd like to recover that information. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to select it with the two buttons. Remember that? Click with two fingers. Click together. As if I'm doing the peace sign, then going to click. I'm going to click and see if we can have some options. One of the options is put back. I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And now it's now in the desktop again. Now it looked a little bit fast, and in fact it made a noise, but we can see that it's desktop on the right hand side. You see that just above my head, all the way to the top right corner? There it is. Let's close these things down. Close down the trash can, all that. So it is back again. Did we bring everything back in the pie, in the folder? I'm going to click on it, and there it is. Our apples are in there. Okay? That's just something you should be aware of as a developer. We can do things like drag this folder up here. Now the folder and is outside the folder apples, which will contain some apples in there, say in the future, is outside the folder pie. So now I have two folders on my desktop. This is called your desktop, the environment for which most of the stuff you have in there. You're a developer. I would suggest doing the following. I'm going to right click over here in the right corner, my choice. You can choose from wherever you put it. Click on new folder. Remember, I clicked with two buttons, tap. And we're going to call this code. My suggestion to you, you'll save me for later. You'll thank me later. Put all your code in there, all the projects and everything in there. You remember that they're on your desktop, and it'll be a lot easier. Hey, I got two folders in there. Let's go ahead and put them in there. I'm going to grab this one, and what I'm doing is I'm clicking on it. I'm clicking, and then I'm with the other hand. You can click in the mouse and press a little bit harder and move it and let go. Sometimes that's a little bit difficult. So what I've done is I click with my left hand. This is my left hand here, even though it's kind of a mirror here. So on this hand over here, I'm pressing. Then with the other one, I'm dragging. Okay, drag. So I press with one hand and I drag with the other one. Okay. Now let's do that one more time. I want you to practice it several times. I know, might be a little getting boring, or you might have just blown your mind with all this information we're doing about it. I'm going to click with one hand. I'm now clicking with it. It even increases to let me know it's clicking on it. And then I'm going to move it with the other hand. I'm clicking, and then I'm dragging with the other one. It's doing me a little bit of help. Don't worry why it popped up. Let's just understand that we're putting it in here. I'm going to go ahead and do the same with the apple. Please, you do it on your setting. You can pause me and do it. I'm going to drag and put it in the folder. Okay, perfect. Now I have something in the folder of code, so I'm going to click on it twice, click, and it opens up and there's two folders in there. Okay, now I know this is getting boring, but trust me, you'll need to know and understand this from there. So there's things in my desktop. What's in my desktop? Actually, there's a folder in my desktop called code. What's inside the folder called code? Let me click, and see I have two folders, one called apples, one called pie. I'm going to click on pie, and I'm going to hit the delete key just above in the top right corner of your screen. Oops, sorry, actually that doesn't do anything. I'm going to drag it, please excuse that, and I'm going to put it to trash. Now that folder is gone. Now remember, you can click on trash to get it a little bit back. Remember what we did there? We right-clicked and we two-button clicked, and then we got it back, but we're okay there. I'm okay in my code directory having the pie folder gone, but the apples folder being fine there. I like that. Looks good. So now we've learned how to move folders, how to delete them, how to name them. Well, let's do that. Actually, you know what apples? Not apples. I want it to be peaches. I made a mistake. Or now I want it to be peaches. So I'm going to click on it. If I click on it once, I can click on it twice to open it up. Now I'm in apples. Yes, I'm in code in apples, right? So there's that sort of tree, you know what I mean, like infinite layers inside the onion with the onion and onion, right? So I'm going to click on the back button. You see what I did in the top right corner? There's a little arrow here. I'm going to do it again. Select the tree. There's a little arrow on the top left. You're going to click on it, and it comes back to the folder view. If we get a little bit outside of the onion where we started originally, if that makes any sense. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and you know what? I want to change the name of that folder. I'm going to click on it, and I'm going to click on it one more time. Now the name is what's highlighted, and I can type something. Peaches. See that? And then I pressed enter. I clicked on it and clicked on it again. If I type in right now something, nothing happens. I'm typing on the keyboard right now, nothing's happening. I'm going to click on it, and then click on it again, and you kind of notice that the whole thing has been selected. And I'm typing, I can type whatever we want there. Put grapes. And with a capital letter, I like that. I did a good job. All right. So we have a folder called code. Inside is a folder called grapes. I'm going to go ahead and close that, and it's out of the way. Okay? One of the things that we can do as developers is keep things handy for ourselves. So this is what we want to do it. We want to put it in the desktop, keep it in the desktop. You can put it anywhere you want. And this is where our files go. There are programs, things like that. Now, I didn't say apps. And so let's think about that. So, well, let's see what's going on there. I'm going to double click on it, and we talked a little bit about the top left corner. See that red, yellow, and green? No, those are not stop signs sideways. What they do is different things. We saw what the red one did. It closed it. I open something up. I may look inside and say, cool, or do something in here like change the name, move things around, grab another. Going to click over here. I'm going to click with two buttons one more time. Click. I get that menu. I'm going to choose folders, and I'm going to put seeds. It's a folder called seeds. It may have some files in there. It doesn't. You know that. I just created it. But that's okay. I typed it and pressed enter. Now I'm allowed to do something with it. I'm going to grab the seeds, and it's inside folders. Okay? Go ahead and close it. Remember, it's like an onion. What's inside code? Well, what's inside code is a folder called grapes. What's inside grapes? A folder called seeds. What's inside seeds? Nothing. That's as far as the rabbit hole goes, okay? Oh, let me go back up kind of the outside layer. Let me get outside of where I wasn't there. What's outside of seeds? It's seeds. I'm saying what's out the content of seeds. And what's outside of that? Remember pressing a button. Similar to how we do things in Google in the browser, but this is a little bit different. There's a folder called grapes. Okay? So that's all we have to do. So we're going to talk a little bit about these three buttons. The X one closes it. Let me press it one more time. I'm going to click on it one more time. Click to open it up. I'm going to click on minus. This one minimizes it. Now, if you notice carefully, it did zoom, and it went into my head. No, it didn't. It actually went in between sort of the trash and this folder here. And you can't really tell there, but there's a new folder that wasn't there before. And it says code. I'm going to click on it. It zoom. Comes back up there. Love that animation. And it's back up there, and it's sort of there ready for you. What you're going to do this is a lot. You're going to be working on something, and then all of a sudden, let's do that. Let me open up this notes application. Let me see what's going on in there, and I'm going to zoop, bring it back down in there into that space. I'm going to zoop, bring it out there. This is important. That way you can set things aside, saying, I'm not working with the notes right now. I'm working with a folder called code with grapes and seeds, if you remember. So then, oh, I'm done. I'm done doing the other thing I wanted to do, making some new folders here. Let's make some new folders here called, you know what I mean, other folder. I'm pressing enter. Now it's there. Okay, I'm done with that. Let me go back to where I was working. I'm going to open up back the notes. Notice if I go over it, there's my notes, and I can do my notesy things. Oh, I forgot to tell you. This computer is brand new, out of the box. There is nothing different than yours. In fact, you may have some stuff I don't. But what we will end up doing is having the same things together. So let's go ahead and close that. I'm going to close that. And notice it didn't go back in because I closed it. I didn't minimize it or get it out of the way temporarily. I closed it. Minimize also means that if you reboot your computer or something happens, you lose power and you start it again, that it goes, it goes back to where it was before. Okay? In this case, the folder. I'm going to go back here, open up the folder, and see it. Where's the green one? The red one stops. Yellow one minimizes, temporarily. The green one, does it make it go? It makes it full screen. Oh no! I don't have all my icons. I don't have the things at the top. Don't worry, it's perfectly fine. This is on purpose, kind of focus mode. If I wanted to, this was a browser or a document that I wanted to work on intensely and not concentrate on it. All those applications at the very bottom, they seem to be gone. Now I'm going to do something. I'm going to drag my mouse to the bottom, see what happens and all that. I'm going to drag my mouse to the bottom and keep going just a little bit further than the bottom, and you'll see that they appear. Okay, cool. I can start my notes up again, and it moved out of the way. What's going on? That's a little bit weird. And just don't worry what I just did there. You're back at this situation, okay? So it's full screen. It's a bit of a pain. It goes back and forth and whatever. I also went up to the very top, and all of a sudden, just a sneak peek of what used to be at the top. The bars you may have been used to being at the top are back. Let me put it a little bit warmer or colder here. This is Florida. Too hot for me. Okay. So how do we get it back to where it was? I kind of liked it the way it was. So we can go ahead and click on this little plus, and it will come back to where it was. Okay? So remember what we did before, which is we kind of made it sort of minimize it so we can move it out of the way. I want to put the notes out of the way, and just to minimize it out of the way, I'll minimize code. That sets it aside, saying, I'll take care of you later. Just give me a minute. Just give me a minute, right? Like I tell my kids, just give me a minute. Just give me a minute. Okay, so I'm going to click on code. I'm going to go to notes, and I'm going to quit. There's two ways of doing it. I can quit that way, or I can quit doing this way. Okay? Now, for those eagle-eye persons, it still says notes in the top left corner. What's going on here? That's usually where Macintosh shows us the programs are running. Windows does this too. What's going on here? Well, not all programs are closed by that X thing. Sometimes you have to click on here and choose notes or closed and all that. So, we've closed it. Now let's get back to our folder here. We had the folder situation here coming up there, and we can expand it in all the one. Here's one last thing we can do. We can double click on here. Now it's not doing something, it's doing something a little bit strange, and you'll see I'll bring it back up there as different programs do different things. You can click on it twice. It kind of goes back to sort of a smaller one and a bigger one. You can also drag it around. I'm going to click with one finger, and then with the button I haven't clicked, with the other one I'm going to move it around. I'm going to click with this one finger while I'm in this top left corner, sort of this area that there's nothing to click on, and I'm going to move the other, and the whole thing moves there. Ready? I'm going to do it one more time. I'm going to show you what I did here on this sort of fake mouse pass. I'm going to press one button, and then with the other one I'm dragging around there. That's what I'm doing. That's if you were looking at my mouse, that's what I'm doing. One click down with one of my fingers, and the other one I'm doing and all that. Okay? You can kind of do it once you get a little bit used to it. You can press a little bit harder and do this, but if that's a little bit hard for you, if that's not quite working, it's a little bit harder than you normally click on, click with the other button, and then you can drag it this way. It's a little bit easier. You can choose whatever you want. Now, I wanted to take over the whole screen, but not quite all screen. That was a little bit scary, and you couldn't see anything else, so let's go to in between. I'm going to drag it to the top left corner. It kind of stops me there. I can't drag it anymore. Well, I can't drag it anymore. Let me just go kind of lets me sit there and all that. And then I'm going to go to the corner. Here's the corner. And I'm going to drag it all the way down here. And that's really, really nice for me. I do have the things at the top. I can go ahead and choose anything that you want in the top that's common. Maybe turn down the volume. This is too loud for me. Let me turn down the volume. We're doing different things like that. Apparently, we have a lot of GPS or sound things you can see in my house. So we can close it. And then when we open it back up, let's see what happens. It remembers what it's doing. This is very useful for different things. Okay, so we've moved folders, we've deleted folders, we've gotten back folders from that evil trash can that's above my head. We've done all sorts of different things. What else can we do? Let's learn a little bit about things on the left-hand side. On the left-hand side, we have things like AirDrop. If you want to share things about it, if you don't understand what that is, don't worry too much about it. We have applications. This is very useful in the future. I'm going to click on applications, and there's some of the applications I have on this computer. Again, probably the exact same ones you do, because it's pretty much a brand new computer that I'm working on purpose. I just bought this computer. I wanted you to be the first ones to see it. One of the things we can see is the desktop. This is a copy of what we see in the desktop. Hey, look at that. Exactly. Code, other folders. So if we're in some place that we want to not see something, this is something we can see. Documents is a good place to save your documents, your special files. Not a good place to save your code for different reasons, especially put it in your desktop or other place that your teacher will teach you what to do. Pardon me. But it's a good place for that. Downloads. How many times have we downloaded programs? We will in just a second. And we don't know where they are. This is the place it is. So let's get to how we got there and all that. I opened up any kind of folder. There could be this folder that's down here called folders. I'm going to click on it. Oh, I'm going to show you that in a second. Any kind of folder. And then even though the folder's content is on the right in that big space here, it's on the left-hand side. By the way, when I first installed this laptop, it is true that I just got this laptop. I just happened to choose dark mode. That's why everything's black as opposed to white. Just my choice. You know what I mean? Just simply a choice I made in there. But nothing different as far as what's going on in your computer. Downloads is something to remember. It is happen to be on the bottom right-hand corner. Let's talk about, well, we can really open it. You know what I mean? I click on it. Little arrow campaign happens and all that. And I'll give you a little bit of a hint of what's happening. I'm going to grab the grapes. And you can do this. You can drag stuff into the downloads. And it's important the whole thing be highlighted. And I drop it here. Now all of a sudden when I go to downloads, I click and there's the grapes folder and all that. This is a different way of doing this. If you want the old-fashioned way, the one where you click and the big screen comes up there and you can see everything out there, click on that arrow that you saw a second ago. So I'm going to click on this and click on arrows. Cool. You're a developer. I want you to do this next step. And you feel free that you can grab all these things and be able to do it. I'm going to click on it. And I'm going to go ahead and drag this over here under applications. Okay. See what I did there? I'm going to take it out and you can see what's going on in here. I'm going to go like that. I'm going to click on it over here. Once I opened up a folder, I'm going to click on applications. It seems like I'm removing it from there. It's like, I really like it over there. But I can move it over here. Everything kind of shifts out of the way. It's a good time. I can leave it there. And you notice on the top left corner, it's back up there. So it was perfectly safe to do what we did there. But now, I like things in this way. If you will like the same way, you can click on it and there's all your applications. Nice and easy to see there. Damien, I forgot what you did. I don't know what it is. I need to open up the notes. I don't know what it is. And in a minute, you're going to see that I'm going to remove all those icons in there because we as developers don't like all these little frivolous little icons. My choice. I'm going to show you how to do that if you wish to do the same thing. How do you get to it? I'm going to have you hold down the command key. That's the key on the Macintosh next to the space bar. On the Windows, it's the Windows key you press to do this thing. But in the Mac, it's the command key, the one next to it. It looks like an infinite pound sign, as I call it. I'm going to click on it, and then I'm going to, while still clicking on it, I'm still holding it down, I'm going to tap on the space bar. Click and tap. Okay, let me do that one more time. Press the escape key to get out of that. Command, space. Now I can type something like notes. And the system will figure out what you wanted. One of the things at the top usually is the application you're looking for. So if you're like, Damien, I know I just installed the application. I just installed. That's an important thing, not download, installed. And I don't know what it is. Command, space, and you'll be able to search it that way. So that's another thing to understand. We have a brand new application here. We have learned how to move folders, create folders, figure out what's going on there. We need some apps because we're developers. But before we do that, my goodness, that line, that's just driving me crazy. I hope it's driving you crazy. Maybe not. Let's get rid of some of those. So why? Well, just because you'll be able to add new things in the future. Once you're a developer, you'll get to know and love certain applications you really, really like, and you would like them here. They're easy to get to, really, really fast. It's an important thing to know how to add things in here. Before we know how to add things here, let me show you how to remove things here. So make a little bit of space. News, you know what? I don't get my news from my front desk, from my desktop, so I'm going to remove this. I'm going to choose, as we learned before, I'm going to grab my mouse. I'm going to tap on it with 2 buttons. You have a mouse, an actual physical mouse. You can right-click the non-normal button you click. I normally click this button. That's my regular click. This is the non-normal, the other one, sometimes we call it right-click. If you're right-handed, you press the left button, and so therefore the right-click is the non-normal button. That's what it means. So I'm going to right-click and things like that. I don't have that. I literally just installed this. I don't have anything hooked up. So I'm going to use the trackpad. I'm going to go over that news. Once I move it over there, then I'm going to hold them 2 buttons and I'm going to press them at the same time. Both of them contacting my mouse track at the exact same time. Let me show you how I'm doing that. So I move my mouse and then I press with those. Not working for you? Remember, hold down the option key, the option key. Go over there and you can click. Oops, pardon me. My apologies. The control key is what I meant to say. And the control key is what you can choose in there. Now, please excuse me that I clicked on by mistake the App Store. So I'm going to click on this and click on Exit the App Store. Okay, the App Store I'm cool with having there. I personally like it there. So let's leave it there for me. I'm going to move over to the news. I'm going to hold down the control key. While still holding down the control key, I'm going to now tap on the mouse. I'm going to tap on the mouse and I get this option. I'm going to click somewhere else, so get rid of that option. Go down to the mouse, please practice with me, and press with 2 buttons over the mouse. 2 buttons at the exact same time. When you do that, the same menu comes up there. Well, we care about this option at the very top, and the option is to remove from the dock. The bottom files over there are called the dock. I'm going to start removing things that I don't like because it is my laptop and it's my choice of what goes in there. And I'll show you what you can do if you ever make a mistake and want to bring back some things about it. Here I'm removing anything that I don't particularly like. This is my option, not yours. You can choose to leave all the stuff there. I would suggest you don't. But if you choose to leave them, then that's good for you. I prefer to remove it all that. This doesn't make any sense for me as a developer, but you can choose whatever you want. This is your computer, not mine. Well, this was mine, but yours is yours. So I'm going to continue doing that. I'm going to try to talk while I'm doing this. Please excuse me as I quickly do this. I think we get the idea. This is how we do this. This last one we cannot, and there's a reason why. Okay? This also has different options and all that. And I'm going to remove Safari. Oh, my goodness, I didn't mean to do that. Shucks. Oh, good. Well, this is a chance for us to put it back in there. I'm going to look for it. Now, I can go Command Space and type in Safari, as I did with the keyboard. And Safari, well, that's a different version of Safari. That's a more advanced version. Let's not go into that. Safari is right there, and I can click on it, and it starts. In fact, I'll do that. I'll press Enter key, and it'll start. There it is. Wonderful. Okay, and I can see it. So I didn't lose it by removing from the dock. I simply wanted it not easily available. This message is, don't really need it. I don't have an iPhone. So let's get rid of that. You know that Safari, I'd really like it here on this arm. Because if you notice very carefully, it's down there at the bottom, so that's cool. But it's in a special place. There's a little lineup. Here's what's going to happen when you exit Safari. It's going to go away. I'm sure it will, eventually. I don't know why it's sticking around. Let's pretend it went away because it should have went away. It's being very kind to me. What you can do is make it more permanent. While it's up, and apparently it's going to stay that way, which is being very kind to me, I can drag on it. So I'm going to click and drag. So I'm going to either do one or two things. I'm going to click with one hand and drag with the other one, or I'm going to press harder than normal. I'm not going to break this. I'm just like a fraction of a millimeter more than I normally click on. And then all of a sudden I'll be able to move it in here. I'll do that one more time. Let's see if I can get that drag in here. Oh my goodness. It's not letting me do that. Okay. That's okay. We can right click with 2 buttons. We can control click or with 2 buttons at the same time. Tap. Go options. Go keep in dock, and now you'll need that. See that it moves onto the other side and it's available there. That's a special application, so I'm sure it was giving us being very handy. But you can also do it this way. I'm going to click on applications. I'm going to find the one that I wanted to move down here. Let's put in back mail. I'm going to click, and I'm going to drag it over here. So again, I click with one hand because that's my favorite thing to do, and then with one button while still holding kind of in the corner of the trackpad and move the other one so it dragged it, or you can click and without even moving keep doing there, right? So click and move there. So you can see me down here doing like that. By the way, I've been down here in the bottom right hand corner doing all these things. If you've been listening and not wondering why am I doing things or telling you what to do things without seeing what's going on there, I've been down here the whole time. You can go back in the video and figure this out. Who added that mailbox? Oh my goodness, that's not what I wanted, says my boss. I'm going to right click on it. I'm going to right click on it. I'm going to right click on the mouse, or I'm going to tap twice, or I'm going to click with the control and click on it one time to get the menu. I'm going to choose option. I'm going to I don't want to see it. Remove it from that dock. Wonderful. Now it's so small, that dock. It needs more stuff here. Let's go ahead and fix that. Let's install some things you will need as a web developer, that you'll definitely need. Here's a couple of things you will need. Chrome. I know we all hate it as Macintosh people, the Chrome, but it is what the majority of people on the internet use. So what we're going to have to do is go to download. So if I type in Chrome or go to google.com/Chrome, I can go ahead and download it. I scroll down, I click on Download Chrome. It says, do you want to allow downloads on the www.google.com? Safari is very safe, and so yes, says Safari, I do want to download it from google.com. It comes there and it jumps into what is my downloads folder, and it jumps and tells me it's done. When it's doing like that, you can also look up here. It also have a little bit of graph. You'll see it in the next time, and you'll have some files in there. Now let's grab some other ones that we will definitely be using. Code.visualstudio.com. Look, it even remembered what it typed, and I never typed this before in my life on this computer, but it knows it's pretty popular. Code.visualstudio.com. Microsoft, our other enemy as Macintosh people, but unfortunately the whole world uses this as an editor. You may find yourself wanting to choose a different editor, or IDE, Integrated Development Environment. But this is what we're doing here. I'm going to go ahead and click on that as well. Click on to download the universal one. And I'm going to go ahead and say, do I want to allow code.install? Yes, I do. I'm on a brand new Mac M1, so that means I either have to choose the ARM version or universal version. Okay, and I've chosen that version. If you notice very carefully, I'm going to go ahead and press back here. Some places will give you some different options that you have as choice and all that. So if you have an M1, you can do the ARM or universal ones. If you have the other ones, you can use the Intel if your screens are fairly large, or it's an older computer and about 2 years old on Mac. Definitely use the Intel. But most of you will have the M1 at this moment. I've downloaded Chrome. I've downloaded VS Code. I can download other interesting things that I might like. Like I might go and type in Slack, download. Put in 2 words. I can search for that. I can go ahead and click on /download Slack. These are things that you might use a common place in the program and all that. Oh, here's an important thing. You can download this from the App Store or from Slack directly. You know what? Let's talk about that. The App Store is always the best place to find things. I'm going to click on the App Store. Now I'm in the App Store. It went to a website and then it popped up the application App Store. So if you notice on the background, it says the App Store. I can double click on this, make it a little bit bigger, or just sort of slide it. I like things full screen. I'm a developer. I like to see everything happening at one time. So here it is. I can install Slack. Whenever you can, try to install the apps from the App Store. There's many reasons to get there. It's easy to install. It's easier. It remembers what's going on in there. It does all sorts of different reasons why we would want to do this. But it is something that we want to trust first the App Store because it's more safety. Now here's an important caveat. Look at me in the eye. Listen to this part very carefully. Be careful what you download. We are developers. We're going to be developers. Details are important. If I type in here and I type in Chrome, I won't find Chrome. I find things that look like Chrome. Hey, there's the Chrome icon. Is that the right one? No. It's OpenLink Pro Browser Picker. I don't know what that is. And it's not Chrome. I'm going to put in here Visual Studio. Okay, cool. I want to download Visual Studio. I want to download this one thing Damien said a second ago. I'm going to click on it, and it looks like Visual Studio. It says C#. I heard it's something to do with C#. Oh, Expat Studio Dev. That sounds like Visual Studio. Be careful. Not everything in the App Store is the right thing, and you don't want to download the wrong program. You will find yourself downloading or paying for Visual Studio tutorials and extensions and things like that. And especially when you pay, you didn't download the right thing. So with a Mac, we don't always go to the App Store. A lot of times we go directly to the application, as I went with Chrome and Visual Studio Code. But Slack reminded me you can go to the App Store. I should have started there, and you can get the different things. We'll get one more program, but we'll do that for a little bit later. Okay, so I'm going to go to App Store. I'm going to quit. I'm going to go to Safari up here in the top left corner. I'm going to go down to quit. And I want to install the 2 programs. I'm going down here to downloads. Remember, we have that folder here. We click on it, and I'm going to click on this arrow key. I could click on these things, but just for for the purpose of understanding what's going on here, click on the arrow key. And the folder opens up and we can see what we downloaded. If it's not downloading, you'll have a little circle saying it's downloaded. I wish I could have shown you that, but it's so fast. My computer, I've been very lucky, my internet where I am, that it's time to download it. So let's look a couple of different ways. And there's two ways that you're going to have programs to do it. Let's start with a Visual Studio. Let's start with the most common ones. You see it says Google Chrome.dmg. DMG is a special way of installing programs on the Mac. I'm going to click on it. I'll show you what it looks like. What it looks like is an application folder come up there, and you're like, oh, cool, there it is. I can install it. And if I double click on it, it's going to start Chrome. And you should not double click on it. This is an important thing for you to remember this. If you remember anything in life, just remember this part. I'm going to close it and do it one more time. DMG file, in this case Chrome, opens up and looks like a folder. Oh my. In fact, it doesn't look like a folder. I think it's in the background. Let me move this out of the way. Ah, see what it did there? What it does actually, if you notice here carefully, oops, sorry about that. I double click on the folder. I'm going to click on it twice and it doesn't come back up. You're like, what happened, Damien? What did you screw up? Well, the keen eye people have seen something here. I'm going to move this out of the way. In fact, I'm going to minimize it because we're going to deal with this in a second. I'm going to minimize this. If you notice, there's a new folder in the top right corner. Looks a lot like Chrome, and it is. And if I double click on it, it looks a lot like what we were saying a second ago. The Chrome application, which looks like it's ready to go, do not click on it. It will click on it, it will start. And it might be smart enough to give it to you. What you're asked to do there, and sometimes there's arrows to help you do that, is you're asked to click and hold. In other words, I'm still clicking on it, and now with another friend, like still holding, I'm going to drag over applications. And because I dragged on it too much trying to explain it to you, it popped up the application. Okay? But what's happening normally is I would do this. And I'll do one more time and you'll see it'll get an error, but you can quickly drag and drop it and it would, you know what I mean? You can go it, you know, it's asking because it did it before. So it's asking, do you do it again? We can even replace it. Let's go ahead and replace it. So was a DMG, double click on it. A folder very similar to the white screen that we see there in the middle of the screen will pop up. There'll be the application you're looking for and the word applications. The program, you know, Google Chrome and the applications. We will drag one to the other. It's very, very important you do this. The reason it's very important is the moment that we grab this folder and we put it here. Did you notice that? Look at that. The trash can changed shape. It's the eject button. Most of you that are below 30 won't realize that it says eject, but it says something we should do a long time ago. Get rid of it. That was how we install some programs. We double click on that program called DMG. A folder comes up. We click the program and drag it to the application. Now here's another thing I could have done. Let me go ahead and do that. I'm going to go ahead and, pardon me, let me close this down. Click on here on downloads. I'm going to open it back up. Oops. My goodness, I clicked too fast. Open it back up. And now I'm going to do that one more time. Here's the other thing I could have done. I could have dragged it and skipped this and go straight to my applications. That would have been absolutely fine to do. Okay? But the easiest thing is just to drag it onto the folders here and all that. Because if I didn't do that, I think I have now two versions. Okay. So let's drag that and go over here. Drag it over here. Sometimes they'll be placed one next to each other. There'll be something like this, one next, you move it over here and all that. But just to remember, if it's DMG, we just do something a little bit different. I'm going to double click on it. Oh, this pop-up has nothing to do, oops, pardon me. This pop-up, I had a different pop-up on my computer that we're seeing right now. This pop-up says a good thing. It says, listen, I know you downloaded this from the internet. Do you trust it? Do you trust me, Damien? You should. This program comes from Microsoft, a big, huge company that's there to help you, and comes from a suggestion from me. So yes, I'm okay with opening it. So I'm going to click on Open. It's now going to open the application, and this looks a little different. There's no drag and drop here. The program just started here. In other situations, you'll have an installation wizard, and you'll be asked different things about it. So this is a little different. This one we're going to skip the DMG, which is double click on it, and just click on it and drag it over here to applications. and it will disappear from the folder that you see on the top left corner and be in applications. If I click on here over here, I can see it at the very bottom under applications. It also is down here. I'm going to right click on it and I'm going to quit it. There's different reasons why that. Click on over here, and I'm going to do something I haven't done yet. I'm going to click on it while in the application and drag it into here. I like my Visual Studio to be right here ready for me. Okay, you know what? Let's do that with the Chrome as well. Do we drag this thing up here? No, that's simply the installation. In fact, we can drag it because we're already done it, and we're going to go ahead and drag this into the trash. Okay, we don't want to keep things in downloads too long. I'm also going to download this one, which is the installation. I'll show you one in just a second to trash and all that. Chrome is in here. We can go ahead and confirm. There it is. No arrow key, no nothing. It's Chrome. I'm going to click on it and drag it down here. Okay, great. So I have my two most popular programs in here, the ones we're most likely going to use. We talked about Slack. Oh, I also installed that, right? So click on this. Look for the application. I'm scrolling with two fingers. That will most scroll up and right. You can also go down to oops, sorry about that. That's not what I meant to do. Click on it, and I'm going to look for the program. There's Slack somewhere. I know one of you guys is seeing it. I'm not seeing it. Where did Slack get installed? Oh, I thought we installed Slack. Maybe we didn't install Slack. Where do we find Slack? App Store. Come here. Search. Slack. Get it. I forgot to click on that. Install it. It's now installed. Oh, right. I remember. Pardon me. I was trying to avoid that. It's showing me my email address. Well, I'll install it a little bit later. You probably don't have that pop-up. Again, I just installed this computer, so it has a lot of things unusual that we normally don't have in there. All right, so we've learned how to move folders around. We've grabbed this folder, we've moved it inside this other folder. We've now saved it. We know how to double-click on it, open it, minimize it, move things around, get things out of the application bars, install things, download from the internet using Safari, and then eventually Chrome and other things. But we're developers. We need a little bit more. We need one particular program that we really are going to be using all the time, and that program is Terminal. So I'm going to go command and type in term, and Terminal comes up there. Now this looks a little bit scary, and you've seen a lot of, oh my goodness, a lot of different things. Oh my God, hacking. What am I doing here, Damien? This is where a lot of time you're going to be living. And a lot of times you need to know some basics about it. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to double click on this area right here, click, and it's going to do what some of the other programs didn't. It will sort of expand itself, not all the way through, I still have the icons at the very bottom, I still have the menu on the very top, and I can still minimize it. I can still minimize over here, over here, and it can go away there. And I can bring it back up because I'm done doing whatever I wanted to do and all that. And I can also right click on it and go options and keep in dock, because that's something as developers we're going to keep all the time. In fact, I can click and then drag there. Oops, I didn't spend a little bit 2 times. Click and drag. My goodness. Click and drag. What am I doing here? All right. For some reason, I'm not. There we go. Okay. Sometimes as developers, we do things 3 or 4 times before they work here. It's just a matter of learning the click, and you'll notice it's sort of a click and then a double click. It's a little harder click and all that. They at one point made the mistake of calling force click, and that's not something we want to talk about. So we're in the terminal. It's a little hard to see, isn't it, Damien? All right. I'm going to hold down the Control Command key, and I'm going to hit the plus key. That's next to the delete key in the top right corner, and it gets a little bit bigger, so you can see different things about there. Bunch of information, not that important. Here's the important thing. I'm going to type in clear and press enter. Everything goes away. I know you're saying, I'm a web developer, I'm not going to live here. A lot of things are going to be in here, so you want to get used to it. You want to save terminal in the shortcut so that whenever you go terminal quit or you reboot your computer, that you can get it right away. See, it's there at the very bottom. And I'm going to click on it one more time and then bring it back up there. And it doesn't remember where it is. There's a whole reason why that happens, but I can just double click on it and it takes over more of the screen. Doesn't remember the size. I'm going to Control plus and get a little bit bigger so you can see what's going on here. I'm in somewhere that is, it's kind of called your home directory here. And for figuring out where you are, you should learn these initials. And unfortunately, it's just the initials that you have to learn. PWD. I don't know what they stand for. Probably like, hey, probably where die. You know, I don't know. So I'm in the users / Damien. Well, I'm Damien. I created a user called Damien, so that makes sense. I'm one of the users, and which users is Damien. So that's something to be aware of. We talk about folders the same way. Remember how we talked about the onion? You know, the code had the grapes, and inside grapes was a seed, and inside grapes were maybe some files and all that. Well, let's look for those files in there. So I'm in something that isn't the desktop. It's one layer below there, one layer inside the onion of there. So we go into the desktop. So I'm going to go CD. CD means change directory. I'm going to go into the directory. So remember how we went to a directory and we double-clicked in the folder? This is how we do it in the command line. I'm only going to be typing here. There's no more use of the mouse. There's no need for the mouse. This is called the command line or the terminal that we do. CD means change directory. I'm going to go into there and then type in desktop with a capital D. It doesn't really matter which you do or not. And I'm going to get an error for the first time you ever do this. I'm going to say allow. And then I'm going to do ls. ls will list the different folders. Now ls will list the different folders, and I have a sophisticated version of it. You just have to memorize this one, ls space -la. Long way of doing this with a bunch of information. What is this bunch of information? Let's look at it. I'm going to clear the folder one more time, and I'm going to press the up on the arrow key. The arrow key up. Pop. It remembered what I typed. I didn't type that. It typed it, remembered. One more time. Up. Oh, it's the thing that it remembered before. It's looking at the history and time and remembering what I typed. This is very useful, and you'll use it all the time. You know what? LSLA is exactly what I wanted to do. Show me everything here. Everything on the desktop. Now, we won't talk too much about the fact that there's actually 6 things. It says total 16. That's what we see here. And if you kind of ignore all the other ones, we see some things in here. Let's talk about each one of those. Right? So things from here to here. There's a thing called dot. There's a thing called dot. There's another one called DS store and localized. Let's ignore those for a second. Talk about the first two. It's complicated, but whenever we talk about here in this folder, the one I'm in, we talk about it as dot. If I type in ls -la space code, /code, it's telling me here /code, because it's a folder, I can see it. It's a little bit hard to understand, but you'll see that in all. Dot means the one we were in a second ago. Remember we were in our users directory? Well, let's see where we are now. Clear. PWD. Users, Damien, desktop. I'm going down the chain. Yeah, we used to be in users, Damien. You know what? I like to go back to users Damien, not users Damien, desktop. CD space, in other words, go to, but go backwards. Dot. PWD. You see that? I was in the desktop. Now I'm going back to my home directory, something that's a little bit hard to get to with the windows and all that. You know what? Let's go back to the desktop. CD space desktop. Try that a couple of times. PWD. Please. Where this guy, right? I think that PWD stands for that. Please. Where this guy. What this girl. Here we go. We're in desktop. ls -la. You'll memorize that. Don't worry about it. We have dot. Dot goes backwards. Dot means here. And the folder code. Remember we had that in the desktop? Let me remind you. We minimize. There it is. There's a folder right there. Let's bring it back up. I'm going to go into there. What happens in there? CD space code. ls -la. Here we go. Dot. Sound familiar? Don't worry about those. What it means is dot means here. Dot means where I came from. One down. There's the folder called DS store. Ignore that for a second. There is a folder called other folder. Now, by the way, the reason why I know it's folder is because I look here, the word other folder, and I start looking to the left, ignoring all this stuff, and then it says D. This is a file because it's called dash, and then this is another folder called D and DD. This is a crazy folder that means this one, so if we go into that folder, we're staying in the same place. CD dot, I'm in the same place, PWD, I'm in the same place, I didn't move it anywhere. I know it's a little weird, but we use it in now things in developer. So when we want to say, you know what, I want to go into the directory back in there, or I want to see the file back one directory. Back one directory is, you know, instead of users Damien desktop code, I want to go users Damien desktop. Remember, one level back. So from this guy, I want to go back to this one. With the Finder, the program that we use to look around, we press that arrow key, kind of a browser. This one we do dot dot, cd dot dot. Okay, pwd. Okay. Here's the and then ls. Again, we're going to just memorize that. ls space minus l, la. Gives us everything. Cool. ls by itself gives us a shortened version about it. So I like ls minus la. It gives you more information, but ls may be your favorite. Cool. Now I want to go into cd code. I know it's getting a little bit crazy, right? Let's go in there. Let's see what's in there. Other folder, cd space other. Press tab. Notice I type in OT tab and it helped me. There's different reasons why it's helping. There's a space, don't worry too much about it. So whenever there's a long file name, remember that tab. Start typing a little bit and press tab and you'll see that it's doing there. Let me remember where I am. I'm in users, Damien, right? I'm reading this right here. Users, Damien, desktop, code, other folders. Well, what's in here? ls minus la. Let's discover what's going on here. Because I see dot and dot dot, which are things to go here and back. Remember, if you remember that. There's not much here. All right, cool. What if we wanted to find a file? We'll do something that I just want you to memorize, called touch. This file.txt. ls minus la. Now we have a file there. Touch will be used a couple of times in development. All it means is put a file there. Sometimes all you need to do is open up that file and just have it there. And you'll be able to, in a minute, run a program specifically there. But you get that from the developer, from the teacher. Okay? All I'm trying to show you is how to move things around. And the concept of dot meaning here and dot dot meaning back. So let me go ahead and go cd space and let me go lsla. Now I'm back in the other folder. And let me do some of the things we did in a minute ago where we right-clicked and we did like in the command line. I can mk to make directory. And I can type in Damien. mkdir, pardon me. Damien. Make directory, mkdir. Things, old-fashioned things in the command line are kind of old, like slower. Okay. So I'm going to look minus la, and I have a folder called others, folders that was there, and a brand new folder, directory called Damien. I'm going to go see the other, because it's a long name. I'm going to press the tab. Have it help me out there. I'm in there. And if I want to see the contents of this directory, I go ls minus la. If I want to see the contents of Damien, I could step down. There's pwd. Hey, please, where Damien? Where Damien? Please, where Damien? So where am I? I'm on users, folders, desktop, code, other folders. I'd like to see the contents of Damien for whatever reason. I can do cd space period. Now I'm in here, and I can go Damien, and I can come in here and say, oh, it's empty. I didn't know that. Okay, cool. Well, here's another way of doing it. I'm going to cd dot dot, go back to the folder. Right now, I'm inside code. I'm inside other. Remember, I pressed in OT tab, right? The top left beside the letter Q. I'm in here. I can see the file that we in there, and I'm like, oh, I totally forgot. Maybe you guys remembered. What's in the folder Damien? Here's a trick I can use. ls minus la, and then tell it where. Dot dot, one level down, slash Damien. Because, oh, I got to spell my name right. Damien. We're here. We want it without moving. Tell it to go down the level and then go into a folder. Okay? Like you're telling someone, go down the street, make a right at the church. Go down the level, and go right folder. There it is. It was happy with that. It goes, you know what? I went down the level, went inside the Damien folder, and there's nothing there. And I'm like, right, there's nothing there. Perfect. That's an important thing. So we learned CD. We learned LSLA. Let's clear that. Okay. We're gonna do PWD. Please. Where Damien? Where Damien? Please. PWD tells us where we are. LS minus LA tells us LS space minus LA tells us what's here. LS minus LA dot dot like something or other tells us where we're down. And make dir creates a new directory. And then touch creates a file. Well, you don't have to use that too much. All right. You're almost good to go. There's one last thing I want to show you, a couple of different things that I would like for you to understand. The last thing is an unusual one, and you get to it here. You'll get to a point at which you are inside VI. There's a famous joke about it, and the biggest things you have to know is how to exit VI. And I know right now you're like, VI, you didn't even tell us what VI is. Just bear with me here. It's a way to edit files. And sometimes all you need to do is exit out of it. Now you're like, why did I get in there? And there's a million reasons why you got in there. In a lot of different situations, they'll just put you in VI and you'll be on something you don't know what's going on in here. VI is an editor, like Visual Studio Code, like other different programs, perhaps Word or something that you've heard about before. So we have to know how to exit. And we're going to exit by going colon Q W exclamation point. Let me prove this to you. VI, and then I'm going to type in the file. I'm going to press tab. It's going to fill in for me. I'm in VI. Looks totally different than before. You can go, how did I get here? Just type in VI on the command line and you get in here. How do you get out? Well, we're developers. We can Google this. Or Bing is, if you wish. I'm going to click on it. It's the first time I opened it, so my Mac is telling me it's a brand new program. You're trusting it. I do trust it. And I'm going to go ahead and make it go ahead and start and answer a bunch of different questions and different things in here. Send me, do I want to have notifications? You know what? I do want notifications. Do I want to understand notifications apparently twice? I do want that. Okay. Finally, we're here. As you remember, I can click on on this thing there. And I'm clicking with one hand and moving the other one, but that's sophisticated. Or you can click and hold real hard and move it under there. Click and then move it over there. Okay? I'm going to click and move it over there. That's a little bit hard for me, so I can click with one finger and move the other one. Okay? Click with one finger and move the other one. So I moved it over here. It's kind of out of the way, really hard to see. So I'm going to go here to this one line where there's nothing else there and click, click. See that? Something I really enjoy. Gets over the whole screen and see a lot of information there. We were going to search for something. How to exit. Look at that. It even understands what we're doing about that. Not what I wanted to say. Not Vim. It was a little bit too smart. V. How do we get out of it? We get out of it with colon. We're pressing the colon, then it should appear in the top right corner. But what you can remember is just colon Q W and wow, I thought I was going to a nice little picture of it. Let's try if we can get a picture of it. So it's nice and big. Colon, the shift and the letter to the letter key. Q W exclamation point. Okay? I just want, oh my. I just want to, I don't know why that didn't show us how to quit. But there's different programs that show us how to quit. Let's look at it one more time. Oh my. Alright, let's try to learn about it. Colon, Q, W, exclamation point. Oh my. Let's try that again. colon W Q exclamation mark. You and I are learning at the same time. Just memorize that. Again, if you see something that looks like this with this curly tilde button, you're like, I'm stuck somewhere, it doesn't seem to let me do something, my keyboard's stuck, you can close it. It's perfectly fine to close it. But what you can do is press those numbers and you'll exit out. Again, you might be asking why. Don't ask why. Don't worry too much about it. You'll see it then later. So, my name is Damian Montero. Let's switch to them here. My name is Damian Montero. We've gone through everything to do with moving folders around. We've go ahead and installed application. We've deleted applications. We've added applications. We've removed them from the dock on the very bottom. We've made our website, our Macs, our own, our computers, our own. We've installed programs that made it easy for them to search. We've understood how to search for programs we've installed and don't remember where they are. We've been able to search for things in the computer. We've been able to go to the command line. We've been able to learn what dot means here. Dot dot, one back. And we've learned all these things. Now what I need for you to do is kick butt on that boot camp. You've chosen an amazing business. You've chosen an amazing career. I am very jealous because 22 years ago I did the same thing and I was so happy I did. Most happy day of my life was that day. Second happy day is teaching you what I've learned since then. My name is Damian Montero. I'm the organizer of Florida JS. I hope you have a great time and enjoy yourself. Thanks for joining us. Bye-bye.